Wisdom sets bounds even to knowledge. The higher a man gets, the smaller he seems to those who cannot fly. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living creatures. One must have a good memory to be able to keep the promises one makes. Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages it is the rule. All truly great thoughts are conceived by walking. If a man wants to become a hero, the snake must first become a dragon, otherwise he is lacking his proper enemy. Faith, not wanting to know what is true. How good bad music and bad reason sound when one marches against an enemy. Whoever is not capable of either love or friendship, he most certainly makes his bet on marriage. On the mountains of truth, you can never climb in vain. Either you will reach a point higher up today, or you will be training your powers so that you will be able to climb higher tomorrow. He who despises himself esteems himself as a self-despiser. We stop too often at knowing the good without doing it, because we also know the better, but cannot do it. He who obeys does not listen to himself. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. When we have to change our mind about a person, we hold the inconvenience he causes us very much against him. I cannot believe in a God who wants to be praised all the time. Is not wounded vanity the mother of all tragedies? One must pay dearly for immortality. One has to die several times while still alive. The most spiritual people experience by far the most painful tragedies, but this is precisely why they honor life, because it provides them with their greatest adversities. The only thing that makes a marriage unhappy is not a lack of love, it's a lack of friendship. Altered opinions do not alter a man's character, but they do illuminate individual aspects of the constellation of his personality, which with a different constellation of opinions had until now remained dark and unrecognizable. Under peaceful conditions, the militant man attacks himself. He who fights too long against dragons becomes a dragon himself, and if you gaze too long into the abyss will gaze into you. Without music, life would be a mistake. Morality is the greatest of all tools for leading mankind by the nose. The strength of a person's spirit would then be measured by how much truth he could tolerate, or more precisely, to what extent he needs to have it diluted, disguised, sweetened, muted, falsified. I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on I can't believe you. One should never know too precisely whom one has married. The lack of young men is that they think they are more happy or unhappy than they really are. If there is something to pardon in everything, there is also something to condemn. I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. That which is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil. Ultimately, it is the desire, not the desired, that we love. Is life not 1,000 times too short for us to bore ourselves? At times one remains faithful to a cause only because its opponents do not cease to be insipid. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will be lonely often, and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. Hope in reality is the worst of all evils, because it prolongs the torments of man. For the woman, the man is a means, the end is always the child. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes? When one has much to put into them, a day has 100 pockets. The higher man is distinguished from the lower by his fearlessness and his readiness to challenge misfortune. Maturity consists in having rediscovered the seriousness one had as a child at play. Existence really is an imperfect tense that never becomes a present. The true man wants two things, danger and play. For that reason he wants women as the most dangerous plaything. Nothing has been purchased more dearly than the little bit of reason and sense of freedom which now constitutes our pride. Man is more ape than many of the apes. There is always some madness in love. But there is also always some reason in madness. Many are stubborn in pursuit of the path they have chosen. Few in pursuit of the goal. The unselective knowledge drive resembles the indiscriminate sexual drive, signs of vulgarity. Life is the will to power, our natural desire to dominate and reshape the world to fit our own preferences and assert our personal strength to the fullest degree. What is great in humans is that it is a bridge and not a goal. What can be loved in humans is that it is a going over and a going under. Blessed are the forgetful, for they get the best even of their blunders. It is hard enough to remember my opinions, without also remembering my reasons for them. Talking much about oneself can also be a means to conceal oneself. To some people you may give not your hand, but only a slap with a paw, and I would at your paw might also have claws. In the mountains the shortest way is from peak to peak, but for that route thou must have long legs. Proverbs should be peaks, and those spoken to should be big and tall. Thinking evil is making evil. All sciences are now under the obligation to prepare the ground for the future task of the philosopher, which is to solve the problem of value, to determine the true hierarchy of values. You have your way. I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. How people keep correcting us when we are young. There is always some bad habit or other they tell us we ought to get over. Yet most bad habits are tools to help us through life. Be very careful if you are praised. It means that you can only be sure that you are not on your true path yet, but on someone else's. Every extension of knowledge arises from making the conscious the unconscious. The lonely one offers his hand too quickly to whomever he encounters. It's risky to get married after 40, because the risk of making such a decision under the influence of loneliness is very high. Sensuality often forces the growth of love too much, so that its root remains weak and is easily torn up. Convictions are the more dangerous enemy of truth than lies. A casual stroll through the lunatic asylum shows us that faith proves nothing. People who have given us their complete confidence believe that they have a right to ours. The inference is false. A gift confers no rights. To speak about oneself not at all is a very refined form of hypocrisy. To feel good in a marriage means to feel good with your spouse's shortcomings. First principle: one must need to be strong, otherwise one will never become strong. There are no facts, only interpretations. To become what one is, one must not have the faintest notion what one is. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. As well, the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions, they cease to be mind. Morality is the herd instinct in the individual. The advantage of a bad memory is that one enjoys several times the same good things for the first time. It is nobler to declare oneself wrong than to insist on being right, especially when one is right. Those who inflate themselves are cursed when pricked by a small pin to burst. The fewer friends a person has, the more he has the time to be alone with himself, and the happier they feel. What was silent in the Father speaks in the Son, and often I found in the Son the unveiled secret of the Father. Experience, as a desire for experience, does not come off. We must not study ourselves while having an experience. A thought, even a possibility, can shatter and transform us. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Does wisdom perhaps appear on the earth as a raven which is inspired by the smell of carrion? What else is love but understanding and rejoicing in the fact that another person lives, acts, and experiences otherwise than we do? All of life is a dispute over taste and tasting. He who cannot put his thoughts on ice should not enter into the heat of dispute. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life, no one, but you yourself alone. The visionary lies to himself, the liar only to others. He that feeds the hungry refreshes his own soul, says wisdom. At the bottom, every man knows well enough that he is a unique human being, only once on this earth, and by no extraordinary chance will such a marvelously picturesque piece of diversity in unity as he is, ever be put together a second time. Virtue is the health of the soul. A woman brightens up facial flaws with cosmetics, figure flaws with clothes, and mental flaws with marriage, to a smart man. Perhaps I know best why it is man alone who laughs. He alone suffers so deeply that he had to invent laughter. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Who is better, they who promote truth over happiness, or happiness over truth? In heaven, all the interesting people are missing. I notice that autumn is more the season of the soul than of nature. The essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. Believe me, the secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. I was in darkness, but I took 3 steps and found myself in paradise. The first step was a good thought, the second, a good word, and the third, a good deed. Thank you for watching. Comment with your favorite quote. Subscribe for more worldwide wisdom. Here is another one.